Welcome to Weekly Buzz. I'm your favorite host, Maisha.
And I'm Didi.
And I'm Chris Knight.
And we have a special guest with us. Y'all love staying in her office, and half the time she don't even want y'all there. Give it up for Nat Shingler.
Hi, happy to be here this week.
Glad to have you, Nat. Nat.
All right, last week we talked about homesickness on our inaugural episode. And one of the things we talked about with homesickness was creating community as a way to combat homesickness. The more we feel connected on campus, the more we feel like we're part of the campus community, the less we feel homesick. So we're going to kind of keep going with that theme. And one of the things we're going to talk about is campus activities. How do we get more involved in campus activities here on campus? What kind of things are happening here on campus? But we also want to talk about diversity. How do we, because one of the things that we know happens is we kind of like to hang around with people that they do similar things. Like football likes to hang with football, cheerleaders like to hang with cheerleaders. We all like to hang within our own groups. But we also know from a lot of research, and we'll talk about a little bit later on, is the more diverse experiences that we have, the more we kind of step outside of our box, the better experiences that we have on college campus. So that's one of the things that we're going to talk about is maybe how do we get involved, and maybe get involved in some ways that we haven't before here on campus.
Yes, that's actually with groups. We like to hang out with people that look like us. And we need to spread around. So we have brought Nat here because she is the new Director of Student Organization and Activities. My girl got a raise. Okay.
Making that bread.
Yes.
Chasing the bag.
So you've been here for 4 years. You also
I've actually been here for 6.
6 years?
Yeah.
Dang.
I know, I'm old.
She's
Love
an
it
old
here.
timer.
It's okay, she loves us.
So since you've been here, do you think Divine College is very diverse within activities or just interactions?
I think over the years, student activities has definitely become more diverse. We try to make sure that we are including everyone, but it doesn't always work out the way we want it to, especially after COVID. So, I came in as a freshman,
So,
my sophomore
as
year,
our new
COVID
director of
hit.
campus activities, how do you
We
like it
saw
so
a
far?
decrease in student activities. I like it a lot. It's definitely a little bit different than what I've done in the past. But I'm still very excited to be working in the student life office, and then even after the director of student activities and engaging with the students.
I know, we love you. You do an amazing job.
Activities,
So,
organizations on
what do you
campus.
enjoy the most about it? What do you find the most rewarding about working with everyone and getting all our campus activities together?
I think the most rewarding part for me is helping people experience new things. My favorite thing is, so far we've been doing Bonfire Fridays every other Friday, and my favorite thing is when someone comes up and says, I've never made a s'more, I didn't do things like this growing up. And so, you kind of get to help them experience making a s'more and having a campfire for the first time, especially if they're from the city. That's a big thing. But, helping people experience new things is definitely my favorite thing.
Because if you're from the city like me, I made s'mores in the microwave.
S'mores in the microwave?
And it's a whole different
Yeah, I live in
experience
New York City,
when you're
but
doing it around a campfire
Can't make
with
no
friends.
fire.
Oh, that doesn't even sound good to me.
It hits.
It hits the spot?
It does.
All right, maybe someday I'll try a microwave s'more.
And it's faster.
Or stovetop s'more.
Okay, but how do you get the char on the marshmallow? You can't put the marshmallow. It's got to have the char on
It
it.
just be big.
No.
If you want some char, you could put some black powder on it and get the imagination going.
So, what would you say have been some of your favorite things as a student and as an alum?
As a student, my favorite activities were always when we did tie-dyeing, because that's something we started out doing even before I came here, and it's just kind of been a tradition that during homecoming week and stuff, the homecoming shirt's gonna be white, have a design, but then we get to tie-dye it, and it's really fun. And then as an alum, I think my favorite thing to see is the growth that we've had within student activities, because we had 3 different student activities directors during my undergrad years here. And so I saw a lot of different changes go throughout that. was Halloweek, the creation of Halloweek,
Oh,
because
yeah.
we have a lot of spooky fans on campus.
Yes, we do.
And so I think that's been my favorite activity, especially doing trunk or treat and trick or treat in the halls. It's definitely some of the more favorite activities on campus. And so, like, I'm really excited to get to kind of execute how we go about that this year.
That's nice. So, well, you told us a little bit about what you want to do in the future. What is something that you do that, you know, helps with people feeling more included and getting everybody to be more diverse?
I try to talk to everyone, and I try to be casual, because the thing is, I know when you're coming as someone who's like a staff member or professional, it can be kind of nerve-wracking when they come up and talk to you, but like a lot of people knew me as a student, as an RA, so I like to just keep it real with them, because I know that they appreciate that, and it also makes them feel more comfortable with me, in which turn I can make them feel more comfortable with other people, because I can be kind of a medium in between that and kind of ease them into getting into new crowds and new groups.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Because my freshman year, I didn't hang out with nobody if he wasn't black. Just being honest.
Oftentimes we think about diversity kind of in those terms, like, you know, race, but
Yeah.
it is much more expansive.
It is. But I'm saying, like, my freshman year, I know for the simple fact that, like, my cheer team was mainly white, and there was only 3 black girls. So I kind of ran to them like a little bug, because that is what I'm comfortable with. And over the years, Nat has spoke to me. And then I used to dip my toe into speaking to other people that didn't look like me. And now I speak to everybody.
How was that for you kind of coming on campus? Because we talked last week, you're from New York City, much more diverse.
Mm-hmm.
You come here and feeling like I'm one of the only, much smaller number of people here that look like me.
Yeah, because there's not that much black females on campus, so that was one. But
say.
also being from New York, it was really different, like, because my family's half white, and I hung around white people, but I realized, like, New York white people and Ohio white people are 2 different type of whites.
I was going to say, Midwest and city whites are very different.
It's very different, and then,
different
so
things.
it was, like, I'm not used to a country lifestyle like I thought I would be, so it wasn't even, like, the race that threw me off, it was just, like, the diverse of, like, the country living, like, I was uncomfortable. So it was like, oh, I'm not going to talk to you, or I'm just not going to hang around you, because, like, I'm just uncomfortable. But over the while, yeah.
Was that kind of what led you to, like, because you said really early on, I didn't talk to a whole lot of people. I kept to myself.
Yeah, kept to my friend group. You only see me with my friends. You see me nowhere else by myself. But yeah, but
how come? What was it about? What were the feelings? Like, what was happening?
It's also me being from New York. I'm from a diverse place, so everybody has interactions with many people. But, like, being here, you find, like, a lot of white people don't have interactions with people who are black or people that are colored. They'll have, like, one person in the class, or the only interaction they ever had was on TV. So it's like, I'm not even going to test the waters because I'm uncomfortable. Like, I grew up in a place where I have diversity with everybody.
Kind of what I hear you saying is, you're looking at them and saying, I don't know if you're safe.
Yeah.
And they're kind of looking at you saying, maybe a little bit of the same thing.
Yeah, like I don't know if, like, you want me to speak to you. I don't know, so I'm just gonna
say
I'm not gonna speak
come
to
down
you.
to the fact that neither of you, like you or the white individuals your freshman year knew how to interact with each other. So you're like, I don't really know how to talk to you, and they don't really know how to talk to me.
Or like, I'm an observant person, so like if I want to speak to one person, but like if I only see you hang around like other white people, I think that's your friend group. Then like I think you haven't even tried, so I'm not gonna waste my time.
Gotcha.
So like unless they speak to me first, I ain't speaking to them.
And that, you know, sometimes we almost get into that little bit of a standoff, it feels like, where I'm waiting for you to come talk to me, you're waiting for me to come talk to you, and then we just miss out on that opportunity. Yeah.
But I find myself talking to more love the whites.
I was gonna say, it always happens like freshman year, because I was the same way. Like, I didn't hang out with anyone but the soccer girls until I became an RA.
Yeah.
And like my soccer upperclassmen, love them. They kind of like pushed me to do it because they knew I was shy. And so then after that, I just kind of started talking to everyone because we had such a diverse staff. Because like it's a really nice way to get to know people outside of your groups.
It is, yeah.
Because we have individuals from all kinds of different sports and groups on campus, different races, different walks of life. So it's a great way to kind of dip your toes into getting involved in something else.
Yeah.
So, Dee, you've been a little bit quiet. What has it been like for you as you've kind of interacted and connected with maybe some more diverse groups on campus?
For me, starting off, I definitely only hung around with my football teammates because we all looked alike. We thought the same. We did the same things together. We all lived together. So I feel like for me, it was probably harder to be more diverse because everything I did involved my teammates, and especially like living with them and being with them and everything. But throughout the years, just getting more involved in like the campus activities whenever they, shoot you those emails, going with my teammates, I interact with other teams and people of different color and race all the time because it was something I was comfortable with being from Oklahoma because Oklahoma was really diverse and I went to a school that's pretty diverse, so it really wasn't that hard for me. But it was different here because like you could tell that it wasn't very diverse at all. People were like kind of to themselves.
Gotcha. And I think, what you kind of both alluded to maybe a little bit is once you kind of mixed in, you found out that maybe we as students have a whole lot more in common than we have different.
It was definitely our unconscious bias that was kind of keeping us apart, really.
Yeah, I agree.
Nice. So and there's lots of research, some of the interesting research. There was some stuff out of Florida and St. John's University that, they kind of highlight 4 or 5 different areas when students interact with more diverse populations. They found that they actually have better educational experience. They improve communication and thought processing skills. That seems like that would be helpful in college. They challenge stereotypes, right? Improves cultural understanding. And they're actually better prepared for leadership roles and better prepared for the workforce. Because, like it or not, when you get out in the workforce, it's going to be diverse. Or you're going to be working with lots of people. Some of them are going to look like you and act like you, and some of them are going to be totally different. And the more we embrace that, now I think the better prepared we are to become those future leaders and better for the workforce.
Yeah.
So what were some of the things that kind of got you to kind of step outside of your box and join in some more diverse groups?
My friends left me.
Your friends loved you? Okay, tell me
They
about
left.
that.
Desiree
your
left.
friends left you.
Yeah, Desiree left.
Desiree graduated.
She could have stayed here one more year. She left. So I have no
She got her
friends.
degree and left.
So some of
I
it
don't
was
blame her.
necessity, right? Like, I need friends. My friends that I did have left, so now I got to figure out what's next.
Yeah, I talked to the RA. That was my baby steps.
Okay.
Very proud of her for that.
And then I talked to my cheer team.
Gotcha.
Half of them is white.
Okay.
Look
So-
at me.
Some of them, not just out of necessity, but like this is the groups that I'm already existing in, right? So
Mhm.
cheer team, I've got teammates.
Yeah. And I speak to people outside. I'll be like, look at me being friendly.
Okay.
I was going to say, Maya likes to say she has a lot of acquaintances, but she definitely has a lot more friends on campus than she likes to think she does.
Friends and acquaintances are 2 different things.
To her, maybe.
How about you? Kind of what got you? So maybe it was a little bit of teammates, kind of a little bit of necessity. Like, how do we start to overcome some of that uncomfortableness that we feel around people that maybe don't always look like us and act like us?
I feel like it was more just like our coaches recruiting people more that didn't look like us and bringing them in, and then from some of us branching out, making friends with other sports and different people, and then us all just being a part of the same friend groups, just meeting new people through friends that I already had.
And I think that's what a lot of the research would show is that, the more experiences I have that are positive with people that are diverse, that aren't always like me, the more safe and comfortable I feel. Right? Other things, though, is being invited. Being invited to be part of another group or part of an activity is something that's huge. We all just want to be asked. We want to be invited. So that's huge. Sometimes, not always.
Not all the times.
Especially for introverts,
We
I
do
suppose.
have some introverts on campus
Yep.
who would rather be ignored.
Please don't invite me. But for most part, like even if you're an introvert, I might not join in an activity, but the act of being invited helps me to feel more included.
It's nice
and
to be
helps-
asked.
It's nice to be asked. And then I start to feel like, oh, maybe that group might be safe, might be something that I want to join in.
Don't ask me if you know I'm going to say no.
Yeah.
But no, we could definitely be better at inviting others to different events. Like, even if it does come to our email, ask your friends, are you going to this? We should go to this together.
Yeah.
You know, invite everybody.
And also, the other kind of maybe another next step is telling people when I've had a good experience. Like, oh, maybe it's tie-dye and t-shirts on the quad was cool.
I think also, like, going to the events was never a problem. Like, in my eyes, my being here, it was people would go to the events with their friends and then only talk to their friends. I was one of those people. I wouldn't talk to nobody else in these events. I would talk to my friends, and I already know them.
So it's not just going to the event.
Yeah, I think it's best, like, I started going by myself to some, and then I'll, like, talk to other people because, like, I'm by myself. So, like, I don't have that little attachment that I have to my friends. I have to mingle now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think once in a while it's nice to just do something by yourself or go to an event by yourself. So then, you're out there. You have the chance, the ability to talk to other people.
Okay. I think that makes it, and you kind of, a little bit with it, you talked about kind of necessity. Like, I had to get a new group of friends because some of the old friends left. We talked off air before with you, you were put into some kind of forced situations with some different groups where I think you went away to a camp and they kind of forced you out of your box a little bit to kind of mingle.
Oh, yeah. So back in high school, we had this FCA camp with all the all-state athletes from all the different sports in the state. And basically in the groups, they just put you in groups with people that didn't look like you, people from different sports, people from different cities, people you wouldn't normally mingle with and talk with. And at first, the experience is like awkward, and then once you all get to know each other and get comfortable, you find out that y'all are all just people. And I don't know, the experience from that was a lot more rewarding being with people like that than sticking with like maybe just like the football team or, just whatever you're comfortable with.
So that kind of a little bit of forced, like I think any of us, like the thought of it like makes us cringe, and I would probably run the other way, like, oh, I'm going to be put in this situation where I got to interact. I'm not sure that I'm comfortable with it.
Like when it started off, everybody was in their own groups, but when it broke us all up and separated us all out, it worked out okay.
Yeah. I am not a big advocate for a little bit of that kind of forced integration like that. It can be traumatic a little bit, but I do think, when we're faced with those kind of situations where I am, maybe it's not necessarily like the forced, but I'm just find myself with other people, and I kind of really intentionally become aware of my own kind of bias and that I am holding back, but I intentionally try to let the guard down a little bit, allow myself to kind of mix in. That can actually be really helpful.
Yeah.
All right, let's shift gears here a little bit, and let's talk about some things happening on campus, because we got a lot of campus activities that are getting ready to happen here. So, Nat, can you share a little bit about what's happening?
Yeah, so actually next week we're going to be having a paint and sip. It's been heavily requested. So we're going to be painting plant pots, and then you guys can get to pick a plant for yourself. And then also,
What we sipping on?
For anyone who is 21 and over, there will be wine available. We will be checking IDs, so bring your ID out on September 20th, which is a Wednesday, next Wednesday at 7. But for anyone who is not 21, you will only be sipping on juice.
Juice can be tasty.
Yeah. Juice can be tasty. It can be the same color.
All right. And the big event coming up. We are almost to homecoming week. Yes. What do you got on tap for homecoming week?
So I'm very excited for homecoming week, especially because I'm helping run it this year with CAB as their new advisor, and so we've got some fun things planned. We did design a new homecoming shirt for this year, which we will be tie-dyeing for anyone who would like to tie-dye their white t-shirt during the day, that Monday, which is October 2nd, which is when we're kicking off our homecoming. And then for the rest of the week, we do have some really fun events planned. We're going to be doing a Decorate DC Day. We're going to be having our staff versus student softball game, which has been really popular in the past. A grocery bingo, which everyone always loves. We'll be doing that in Sarek that Wednesday. And then we're going to be doing a DC trivia night, so start studying up on DC in the past and present.
Only thing I know that DC used to be an all-girls school.
That's true. That is a fact.
You just spoiled a fun fact.
I'm helping them.
That one will not be included in the trivia night. And then we are going to be bringing back the DC Talent Show this year, which we did last year, which ended up being much more popular than anticipated. And we're hoping to get all the student orgs and teams on campus involved and do an act. And then, obviously, that Saturday, the 7th, which is our homecoming game, we're going to be having a tailgate, which is going to be a little bit different this year. Instead of having a tent and then having, like, food underneath it, we're going to be doing food trucks along the road going up to the stadium.
Who doesn't love a food truck?
Yes, very excited about it.
Fantastic. Some other things that I know that are getting ready to happen a little further down the road. October 10th is World Mental Health Day. So we are in the works of planning some events for World Mental Health Day. So please stay tuned for that. And we are also recruiting some more peer educators. We did a round of training in August, and we're getting ready to open up another round of training. So if you're interested in helping us put on some activities, kind of like World Mental Health Day, we're going to do some topics on anti-hazing, healthy relationships. We got a lot of good stuff. If you're interested in getting involved on that, check your emails for some ways to get involved in becoming a peer educator.
You also get a really cool free shirt.
It is a pretty cool t-shirt. That is going to wrap it up for this week on the Weekly Buzz. Any final thoughts, my Asia or Dee?
No. But I'm still your favorite.
All right, stay safe and get involved, everybody. We will see you next week on the Weekly Buzz.
Bye!
Bye, everybody.